This is a short introduction to an audio recording that I recorded at my father's address almost 3 years ago to the day on the 13th of July 2022. And during this recording that you're about to hear, my father explains how he has been assisting, aiding and abetting a ruthless campaign of constant murder attempts and violent terrorism against me since the early 2000s. So without any further ado, we'll just dive in and have a listen.
Would think you're talking rubbish.
Well, that's your opinion. And you're entitled to your opinion, which I think would be a very good way to proceed, because I know we all have different opinions in this world, and if we all held a knife to each other's throats just because we have a different opinion, we'd never get anywhere, would we? You know what I mean?
That's the end of that, okay?
That's the end of that. Well, it's what makes this world a better place. It's our diversity.
Why don't you go back to your painting?
I need to paint. I've got to paint some windows.
Dad's in the middle of painting windows at the moment.
I've got to paint windows.
Right, okay, well, yes.
I think you should probably be on your way, Crispin.
Well, I think that, well, yes, I'm sure you think
Talk
that.
to your mother for half an hour if you like.
Yes, yeah.
Don't stay too long, because...
Well, can't we stay in contact, Dad, about some of this, about, like, what's happening?
No, don't want to listen to it.
Really?
No, nothing.
Nothing at all?
I'm not interested in
You can stay in
whatsoever.
contact, darling, but not trying to convince us that, you know, things that you believe are necessarily what we have to believe, because we're not going to agree with you on some things.
Yeah, an old friend I used to work with,
Right.
1963,
Yeah.
looked up, wanted to try and contact me.
Yeah.
So we worked together. Looked up my name, and she found you on YouTube, calling his father a terrorist and a murderer. She said, "Is this your son?" I said, "Yes."
But you see, I've been subjected to brutal murder attempts, Father. You have been supporting and endorsing and condoning. Yes. Well, if you condone brutal murder attempts...
So when you wonder why we don't have... Well, I don't want to have anything to do with...
What, because you condone brutal murder attempts on your children?
Are you surprised?
What, you condone and encourage brutal murder attempts on your children?
We've never had.
Yes, you have. I have been... Don't you know I've been subjected to brutal murder attempts? You don't care, do you?
Well, look, darling.
You know what I mean?
If you're trying to say we
I mean,
guilty
really.
of this, are you trying to say we're guilty?
Well, he sits there supporting and condoning it.
Well, condoning what, sweetheart?
Well, brutal murder attempts on his own children.
You had a wonderful childhood. You were a very happy child.
I've been subjected to brutal murder attempts. I've told you that over and over again.
As a child?
No, this is like you. This is like while I was struggling with cancer. You know what I mean? It's not acceptable. This is between the years of 2001 and about 2015. You know what I mean? There was just constant abuse, constant attacks, constant physical assaults, constant efforts to just...
drive to Bournemouth and see you, take you out for lunch on a Saturday. We did that for years.
Yes, well, I'm saying I was subjected to constant violence, you know, and constant, you know, and brutal murder attempts.
You don't appear to have any signs of violence, darling.
Well, it's got nothing to do. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm just telling you the truth. I mean, if you are going to sit there and condone this stuff and support it, then I have to inform that I have to let people know on social media that my father supports brutal murder attempts, you know, targeting his own children. I mean, I have a moral duty to tell people on social media.
It's rubbish, darling.
Well, he is openly condoning and is supporting people that subject me to brutal murder attempts. I have a strict moral duty to upload it onto social media. This is what people are supporting. I mean, it's absolutely disgusting. You can't subject cancer patients to
make you a cup of tea or something, but I don't want to hear you running down anybody.
No. Well, if you want to come here and accuse me of being a murderer, there's only one way for you, and that is through that door and back
and into your van home.
That's fair. Well, if you support
coming here and accusing me of being a murderer, get out.
What?
Get out now. I'm going to call 999 now. I want you to go now. Okay?
Why are you losing your temper when I'm just complaining?
Accused of being a murderer.
No, you're not. I have been subjected to murder attempts.
Up to 10.
I have been subjected to murder attempts.
You said
I have been subjected to murder attempts. I'm going to leave in my own time. It's absolutely, you have no right to subject cancer patients to brutal murder attempts, Father. You're a cowardly, disgusting, violent man.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Off you go.
No. Come on, taking my stuff. I'm going to the police station. I'm reporting him for supporting and condoning brutal murder attempts, brutal violence. Wasn't he was using the disease, wasn't he, to mutilate, manipulate me and
come on.
And butcher me, wasn't he?
Get back in your van, sweetheart.
What a disgusting, horrible man. You know, I recorded all that, so I'll be playing it to the police.
Yes.
That was a very strange way for any father to talk to their son. I hope you agree. And I'd just like to point out a couple of very disturbing features about this audio recording, starting with how my father asked me if I'm surprised. He is clearly heard asking me at the beginning of this recording, am I surprised that I've been subjected to 20 years of barbaric violent terrorism and brutal murder attempts, which essentially just is an admission by himself that he has been assisting, aiding and abetting and organising these murder attempts and barbaric violent offences against me since the early 2000s, since 2001, himself from his safe house in the city of Bath, using a large number of accomplices and hitmen and serial killers working for him, or certainly on his behalf, even if he doesn't know them personally. And two things to note from that are that very obviously my father is running a massive racket of violent terrorism from Bath and has been for the last 20 years. The second thing to note is he's very obviously not acting alone. He is fairly clearly one of, or part of a larger group. I mean, this is of course the terrorist operation I'm referring to. A larger group of people similar to himself, either retired doctors or working doctors, who are running very similar campaigns of violent terrorism and barbaric violence against people they don't like, people with different opinions, like myself. So that's fairly clear. Now, the other shocking thing here is that my father suddenly starts to sound surprised. My father, a bad actor, quite literally a bad actor in this instance, trying to sound surprised that people are calling him a murderer. And I mean, how ridiculous is that after running a 20-year campaign of violent terrorism and brutal murder attempts against your own children for 20 years? I mean, how ludicrous is that, to try to sound surprised that people are calling you a murderer? That, I think, is some of the most appalling acting I've ever seen in my life, and again is really nothing more than a confession that he himself has been behind all of it. Which brings me on to the last point, that we have also not just identified my father's guilt beyond all reasonable doubt from this recording, but also identified a clear motive. Because anyone like himself, any person who runs 20 years of barbaric murder attempts and violence against an innocent, peaceful person like myself, has a motive. And that motive is the fact that I realised and worked out for myself that my father was using a cancerous condition to quite literally torture me, mutilate me and manipulate me. Because once a person gets cancer, it's very easy to use that disease, certainly if you're a doctor, to manipulate them like a puppet. Because once that person is in pain and they're starting to feel the effects of that tumour, the doctor can then move in and use that quite literally to terrorise you, mutilate you, and that's what I found my father doing. And he finds that unforgivable, that I've blown the whistle on it. What he also has told me is unforgivable is the fact that I found cures. Very ancient, powerful, effective cures, not just for cancer and a wide range of cancerous conditions, but addictions as well. And to be sharing cures, natural cures, that could potentially affect the profits from his violent terrorism and his cancer charity fraud is also unforgivable. So there is also a clearly defined motive. And I believe that's a very cowardly motive. Quite simply, if somebody's discovered cures for cancer, cures for addiction, and realised that they've been tortured by a rogue doctor, only to be told that this is a reason to be murdered. I mean, we trust these people with our health and should do with our life. And to see them acting like this is absolutely shocking beyond belief. Now, as if that wasn't disturbing enough, my father then gets up from the kitchen table with his phone, marches next door and dials 999 to ask first responders to rush out and remove me from the building for complaining about his 20 years of constant murder attempts and violent terrorism that I've been subjected to. So the thing to note here is that, of course, this is completely illegal, and if he expects first responders to protect the profits in his violent terrorism, which we've already established, are huge, then this is very concerning. And even more concerning considering that we have also identified a number of similar incidents involving my father after this audio recording taken on 13th of July 2022. And I'm referring to very clear examples of my father weaponising the police, the judiciary, NHS doctors, local councils, and pretty much every government department he has some kind of reach on to do exactly what he was doing with the emergency services on the phone there, literally incite, encourage them to rush out and help him kill his kids. Quite unashamedly ask them to come and help him protect the profits in his violent terrorism. And this has come in all kinds of forms in terms of evidence, not least of which was a court summons that I received from one of his accomplices after complaining about, again, brutal violence and people going missing from my family. This is the consistent disappearance of people from inside my family in relation to this terrorism, in order to silence them, keep them quiet, and stop them spreading evidence and information. Where these people are, there's about 16 people disappeared, have been for the past 11 years. So I hope this video therefore provides ample evidence and irrefutable proof of my father's guilt, and we can use this to find a lasting resolution to this crisis. Thank you for watching.